here in my workshop. A lot has happened since I made my last video of unpacking a box. And I just want to unpack one box this morning, and then I'll show you around the rest of how the workshop is looking right now. I came out here and cleared one side, like basically the broom making side of the workshop is more organized than it has been ever. So at least in this workshop. And then this other side, which is like the sewing side, the corn husk side, the natural dye side, is still in a disarray, but I'll show you that in a minute. So this box I need to unpack because it contains some dolls that I made, and one of those dolls just sold on the website. I'm always forgetting to say that if you don't subscribe to this channel, please subscribe so you can see more of these videos. I really enjoy doing the live videos, and also, you can hit the bell so that you can see when new videos become available. And I also have a website, which is broomsandbaskets.com, if you want to go and see what I actually do for a living as an artist and as a weaver. So on the outside of this box, it says corn husk dolls, cicada wings, and small doll mirrors. So let's pull out the dolls first because they're the most fragile thing in this box. So I make these heirloom corn husk dolls, and I really wanted to be able to transport them from my previous house to this new one without them getting messed up, so I put them all in one box. So this doll, all the dolls are dyed with natural dyes and adorned with dried flowers and other found objects, either objects that I grow or objects that I found along the way. So I'm just gonna unpack each doll and kind of set her aside. And I can also show you which doll just recently sold, which is my whole motivation for coming and unpacking the dolls right now. It's another doll. She actually doesn't have a base yet, so I need to put her on a base. She's dyed with indigo and then adorned with other botanicals. I've been making these dolls for many years, maybe about 8 years I've been weaving the dolls. I think this is the one that just sold. This doll. Yeah, because I remember, oh, see, she lost one of her, in the move, she had these 2 rose petals here, so I'll have to go in there, do a little bit of repair on her before I send her off to her new home. Thank you. I really love making these dolls. It kind of is like a way of getting in touch with my inner child. I played with dolls a lot when I was a little girl, and I'm still playing with dolls today. Here's another one. I can't believe that this little portion here, the flowers that she's holding, didn't get damaged in the move. These dolls are also notoriously hard to ship. I mean, as you can imagine, it was hard for me to just get them in a box from one house to another. But what I found about shipping the dolls is that if I put the doll into like its own little brown bag, and then I pack around it to kind of create a little cushioned area for it once it's inside the bag, they tend to travel better that way. This one also needs a base. This one kind of looks like she's singing to me, like she's using the flower as a microphone. And all of these dolls I made in the spring, so it's really time for me to make more dolls, but I have to finish setting up my shop before I can do that. I really love this one. It's dyed with logwood, and then she has some eucalyptus leaves as wings. There's a little bee balm. And she's the, well, this is only the second one that actually has hair. I just recently got a bunch of wool from a local felting place out here. And I was getting the wool specifically with doll hair in mind. And so I have a bunch of different dolls that I want to make with that doll hair. These are some flowers that my son's girlfriend gave me. I don't know what kind of flowers they are, but they smell really beautiful and they've been dried really beautifully. So I'll have to ask her more about these little flowers, but I can definitely use them in my doll work. Oh, I wasn't expecting this to be in here. So my girlfriend is an organic farmer, and on the farm, everyone basically sets aside little strange things that they find. They kind of pack them up for me. So here is a little butterfly. Ooh. The wings are so fragile, I'm hesitant to touch it too much. But someone collected this, one of the farmers collected this for me on the farm. And then here's another little, this one looks kind of like a bat with the way that its wings look. Another little butterfly. So I'm always getting little containers like this. I actually have another one back here, let me show you, that are full of bugs or other neat little things. And I love that when people see little strange things lying on the ground, they think of me and they pick them up and bring them to me. I think that's a really special relationship. So this is another little cup from the farm, and I had this sitting on my kitchen counter because I recently found a tarantula outside that was dead, and so I put it into a vessel with salt to kind of try to preserve it a little bit. And so I had that salt vessel sitting in my kitchen with a little tag on it that said tarantula, and I was like, this really doesn't need to be in the kitchen. This is more like a shop thing, you know. So I actually poured the salt off of the tarantula and brought him out into the shop. There's still a little bit. I need to get a little brush and clean him up some. But this is my little tarantula friend. And then this container came from the farm. You can tell they just grabbed like one of the little water drinking cups and filled it with some things. So there's two more butterflies. There's a monarch. And I'll probably, this lower wing is damaged, so I'll probably preserve the upper wings and use those probably for dolls or some other magical creature that I create. This is part of a little eggshell, so probably a bird or something. Ooh, a little bird hatched out of there. Oh, see how fragile these things are. So I don't know if I'll be able to salvage that, but I will try to piece it back together. And this butterfly is really beautiful. It's just this bright yellow color. So the wings are just so fragile, so I'll have to reinforce them with something or like coat them in something that will make them stronger. And I think it would be cute to have a doll that has like a little tarantula for a hat or sitting on her shoulder or something. You know, there was a place in town that used to be called something Curiosities, and that's really like I'm in this world of curiosities where you just pick up things from nature and then make them into other things. All right, one of the dolls came off of her base, so I just used these wood slab bases for the dolls to mount them on so that when people purchase them, then they can stand just easily, like on an altar or wherever they store them, because these are heirloom dolls, so they're meant to be passed on from generation to generation. And what I really recommend is that people put them in one of those cloches, like a glass dome, so that they don't get dust and other things on them just to protect them and preserve them. And the dolls are really best stored out of direct sunlight, because the thing about plant dyes and dried flowers is that they are light sensitive, they're photosensitive, and so if they're sitting in direct sunlight, then that will fade them naturally over time. So if you really want to preserve the brightness of the colors, then it's best to store them out of direct sunlight. All right, and this is the last thing in this box. Oh, there's a couple things in here. So there's this little bowl. When I was doing the macrobiotic diet years ago, I was collecting a bunch of little containers, because in macrobiotics, all of your dishes, like you eat several small dishes of things at every meal, and they all are supposed to be separated. So I've always thought that was really interesting, and that is one of the things I enjoyed the most about doing macrobiotics, was that I would get a big cutting board and put all of my little dishes on it, you know, and then just like carry it to wherever I was gonna eat. So that's when I got this little vessel. I used to put my brown rice or my beans into this container. But inside of here are a bunch of these flowers, and I think that these are bachelor button, which I'm always calling them Benjamin Button because of that movie, but they're bachelor button. When the bachelor buttons drop their petals, this is like the husk that they leave behind, and so it's already fairly dry, but it looks like a little star to me, and I use those a lot in my work. So this is just a little bowl of those, because they add such a beautiful, magical little touch to a flower crown or a doll's skirt, just like a little star. So this is like what I see when I look at these little things in nature. I see what else they could be. In my mind, just naturally, this is a really good one. My mind just naturally does that. Okay, this is the real gem in this bowl. I got all these little mirrors. Oh, I like the reflection that it's showing in the camera. I got a bunch of little mirrors for a really special project. So this is the bigger, and then I have like 1, 2, 3. I have 5 of these smaller ones and 1 of the bigger for a very special project that I'm working on. I won't reveal what that project is. Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm in Texas, USA, by the way. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to make this video before it gets too hot, because it's been so hot early on. It's probably in the 80s right now, but the weather these days has been getting to like 104 degrees Fahrenheit. I also have my little drink here. This tea I'm drinking, it's got such a good color. It's hibiscus tea, and I just steep the hibiscus flowers overnight, and then I put a whole lemon in here and some ice. And I don't really sweeten my herb tea. I like the way that it makes the lemons look. When they sit in the hibiscus, they turn this like red pink color. Yeah, it is it's crazy hot is what it is. So I usually don't ice my herb teas either. I'm not like a cold drink kind of girl, except for right now working out in the workshop, because I don't have AC out here. I have a fan, but it blows hot air. So having a cold, icy drink to use as I'm working is really important. Yeah, it's super hot. Okay, my last thing. See, this box is empty now. Thank goodness. This is my last little surprise. It's really hard to see, but this is the last thing that was in the box. I actually love the heat. I don't mind the heat at all. I love living in Texas because the summers are really hot and the winters are pretty mild. But, you know, I feel like I'm a pretty tropical person. I appreciate the dry heat more than like the humidity. I was in North Carolina a few weeks ago and I tend to go there every summer to teach, but the humidity, like the hot wetness, I don't like that. I like Texas heat where it's hot and it's dry because somehow that seems more bearable to me. I know some people are like, no, but that works for me. Okay, these are, oh, let's see how close I can get with it still focusing. These are cicada wings, like actual cicada wings. And I also have these stored up for a very, very special project. And when I make that project, I'll share it here. You can also find it on my website, which is broomsandbaskets.com. You can go and see, even if you don't go and order stuff from the website, you can at least go and see like what I do. Oh, uh-oh. These wings are super fragile too, so I really need to reinforce them as well. And usually what that looks like if I take a glue like Mod Podge and just paint them, when it dries clear, and that usually will fortify them enough for them to not break so easily for whatever the project is that I'm doing. So I have a lot of reinforcing of wings to do, because it's the worst when a little piece of something breaks that you worked so hard to assemble. Okay, so now let's turn the camera around. Let me put all these little whatnots back into their places. Put my mirrors back. I wonder if you can guess what I'm doing with the mirrors. It's a very special project that I have a few projects that I've been meditating on for like a year now, and most of them are in collaboration with other artists or other makers. So I feel really good about setting up my shop because now I can get back on those projects. I tried to eradicate the yellow jackets, but I was unsuccessful, and they're still in here. I think that one is actually a dirt dauber. So there's dirt daubers, there's red wasps, there's yellow jackets, and all kinds of other like flying, stinging creatures. But I've just realized that if I just like chill out when they're in here, like they're flying around in here right now, they're not really bothering me. They're not really paying attention to me. So if I can be cool, then I think that they'll be cool. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to like rage war against them again. But so far we're good. And yesterday in the shop, I put my finger out. There was a little dragonfly flying all around. I put my finger out and he landed right on my finger, and he was actually eating something. He was eating, I don't know what dragonflies eat. It looked like he was eating another bug. And then he finished eating it, and then we just like were looking at each other because, you know, dragonflies have those big, huge eyes. And I was just like, you're so cool. And we just kind of had our moment, and then he flew off. And then I was like, oh man, I wish I had caught a video of that. And then I tried to get him to come back, and he was like, no, that's it. So that's the story of the dragonfly. Let's see, let me turn my camera around. Oh, see, this is what's really going on in here. And I have it on this tripod. Let me pull my phone off of this tripod because it's like moving all around. Whew. Okay. So this is the side of the workshop that is still messy. There's some of the stuff that we unpacked in the other boxes, some broom making stuff that needs to go to the other side of the room. And I'm just trying to organize things. Like here's some dye stuff over here that needs to be over there with all the dye stuff. So I'm just trying to organize things into their categories because then the shop will be, everything will be in its place. So you can see more clearly now. Here's where all the dye stuff is going. There's indigo, and there's some steaming vessels and pots. This area over here is going to be where all the sewing happens. That's why these dolls and dresses and stuff are over here. And then let me show you the side that I've been working on. So over here, much more organized, but still not perfect. All my broom corn fibers. I actually need to cover this area up with a sheet because all the natural light that's coming in is great, but it's going to fade the broom corn, so I need to cover that with some kind of curtain. This is all of the organic broom corn that I just harvested. It was maybe 2 weeks ago out at the farm. So organic broom corn, the seeds are so beautiful. I made a bunch of videos of that process that you can go and look at. Here's a big vessel of dried flowers that I use in my work. And those are all organic flowers too. This is a big, like, custom made crawfish boil pot that I just have been carrying around. It's so heavy, but it would make such a good dye pot that I've kept it around. I pulled apart, well, my son smashed all the wood from this broom cutter because the wood was rotted out, but the frame is metal. So he sledgehammered out all the wood, and I'm gonna rebuild that with a friend of mine. That is an HEB hand cart that shouldn't be here. And I don't really know how it ended up with me. My daughter used to work for HEB grocery store, so maybe that's how I ended up with that, but I would really like to return it. These are all boxes that still need to be unpacked, but much less than before. This is a t-shirt press, super heavy, super huge, but it belongs to a friend, and my kids want to use it to print custom t-shirts. These are a bunch of sinks that'll be being moved out of here so I can use this space. And then over here, this is where I was just sitting. These are just some finished brooms that I made. Some kitchen brooms and some structural, like sculptural art brooms. This is my little printing setup, my laser printer, more mailing label printers. This is also where I do the photography. That's why I have this ring light and this backdrop curtain for photographing stuff when it's done. That's where I put all the dolls. And then we're just right back to the dye area. Oh, I thought there was something moving around in here. It's just some paper blowing. I was on high alert for a minute. I was watching a show yesterday, and it was like a comedy show, and there was a raccoon in the shed that like jumped on this guy's back, and I was just like, oh my goodness, if I ever go into my shop and there's a raccoon in there, I would freak out. When I think of raccoons, I think of like rabies, you know? Okay. So I'm going to get back to work, but if you go back and look at the other videos of helping to unpack my workshop, there was so much more work in here just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was just, I couldn't even walk through here the way I can now. So that gives me hope. And yesterday I was just having a blast. I was out here in like my bathing suit, and because it was so hot, and just dancing, playing some music, and having a cold drink, and just getting organized. So I'm gonna keep with that theme and just like dance my way through unpacking this workshop, and I will not be videotaping that. All right, so thanks for showing up, thanks for watching, and if you're watching this later, thanks for watching. And I'll be back. Hopefully when I come back, this shop will be a lot cleaner and we can go through and look at some of the different sections. But leave me a comment and let me know if you're actually enjoying these videos, because I can't tell. All right.